Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into episode 3 of Weird Media's The Human Remnant. And honestly, this one is wild. We're looking at a concept that connects the deep, ancient history of our physical bodies literally straight to the bleeding edge of our modern economy. We're going to examine how human obsolescence is rapidly transitioning from our biology directly into our economic systems, and yeah, we'll talk about what that actually means for every single one of us. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so here is our roadmap for today's Explainer. 1. The biological remnant. 2. Humans out of the loop. 3. The zero human enterprise. 4. Investing in AGI abundance. And finally, number 5, the post-human economy.
All right, Section 1, the biological remnant.
So, to make sense of all this, we've got to start with this fascinating concept called vestigiality. Basically, in evolutionary biology, this refers to physical characteristics that once served a really vital, life-saving purpose for our ancient ancestors. But over time, they've been rendered completely or mostly obsolete by evolutionary progress. You can kind of think of them as the biological leftovers of our past operating systems. And it's actually super interesting when you look at the leftovers sitting inside our own bodies right now. Like, take the plica semilunaris, that little fold right in the inner corner of your eye. Believe it or not, that is the remnant of a fully functional third eyelid. Or think about the coccyx, our tailbone. Every single one of us possessed a prominent tail when we were just 4-week-old embryos. We've also got wisdom teeth, which are just left over from when our ancestors had to grind down super tough plant tissue. And of course, the appendix, a remnant of the mammalian coccyx. The big takeaway here is that nature doesn't really delete old code, right? It just stops relying on it. Which brings us to a really profound pivot. It's a question that should genuinely make all of us pause. If our own bodies naturally phase out unnecessary tools over time to become more efficient, what happens when a massive economic system optimizes out its human workers?
That leads perfectly into Section 2, humans out of the loop.
Okay, so the absolutely crucial thing to understand here is the migration from HITL to HOTL. Right now, practically all software development is HITL, or human in the loop. That means every single line of code, every design choice, every deployment, it all passes through human judgment. But the transition mapped out by technology analyst Leonardo Saturnino shows a massive shift to HOTL, human out of the loop. And this is a totally automated architecture where humans are entirely removed from the main production loop. The machine just generates, tests, and deploys completely on its own. And guys, Saturnino projects a shockingly tight 15-year window for this entire transition. So from 2022 to 2028, we're mostly in a pure human-in-the-loop phase, right? AI is basically just speeding up human coders. But look at the 2028 to 2030 window. He calls this the choke point dissolution. This is where human review drops down to basically just being an on-call exception role. And then, by the late 2030s, software production just becomes a simple, cheap commodity utility. The traditional tech industry, which employs tens of millions of people globally right now, effectively dissolves because its capabilities just get completely absorbed by autonomous loops.
Moving right along, Section 3, the zero human enterprise.
Now, research from Burns dives into how companies actually operate at a structural level, and their findings are pretty staggering. They point out a simple truth. Your absolute smartest employee is going to forget about 90% of what they read within a week. That's just human nature. But once an AI agent gets an infinite context window, it can hold an entire company's history, literally every single email, every contract, every line of code in its head, all at the exact same time. And when that happens, the whole business case for keeping forgetful, expensive human employees, it completely collapses. It's not just a neat feature, it's a total paradigm shift.
And look, this isn't just some theoretical sci-fi future for a couple of niche tech startups. According to BRNZ's market analysis, a mind-blowing $4.2 trillion in annual tax revenue is already drifting into this sort of regulatory void. Why? Because we are actively witnessing the rise of autonomous, jurisdiction-free AI companies. Just imagine a company where the CEO is an AI agent. Its servers are spread across 12 different sovereign territories, and legally it's structured as a decentralized autonomous organization down in the Caymans. They're effectively just slipping right out of nation-state control altogether. So, how do you even play this financially? Section 4, Investing in AGI Abundance. Take a look at Genius Group's official 5-year roadmap. They're planning to deploy up to $800 million into what they're calling an AGI infinity portfolio. They are aggressively pricing in the transition to a fully automated artificial general intelligence economy. They've actually marked 2028 as a critical threshold before targeting $2 billion in total assets by 2030. They view this as quite literally the most significant wealth generation window in human history. To capture it, they're building this dual treasury strategy, stacking up both AI assets and Bitcoin.
And why are they betting so heavily on this? Because they're anchoring this massive treasury on 5 converging exponential markets. Just to put this in perspective, look at these top 3 projections from firms like McKinsey and Goldman Sachs for the end of the decade. We're looking at a $4.4 trillion AI market, $6.7 trillion in compute infrastructure, and $5 trillion in humanoid robotics. You put those together, and these converging technologies create an absolutely staggering aggregate addressable market of up to $14 trillion. The infrastructure for a post-human economy is literally being funded right now as we speak.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, the post-human economy.
So where do we fit in? Well, Saturnino predicts that the human positions that actually survive this transition won't be your traditional doers or coders. Instead, the surviving workforce is going to look a lot more like mid-century CPAs or highly licensed architects. Basically, humans will become strictly exception handlers. We can break these down into 3 main surviving roles. First, spec authors, who formally encode deep domain knowledge into the system. Second, licensed attesters, who step in when the AI's output mathematically mismatches the original intent. And finally, domain strategists, who manage completely novel, unprecedented situations. Bottom line, humans are only going to step in when the AI hits a contradiction that it just can't resolve on its own.
We started this explainer by looking at the evolutionary obsolescence of the human tailbone, right? Just a physical remnant of a time gone by. But as we watch billions of dollars flow into these zero-human enterprises and human-out-of-the-loop software systems, I want to leave you to consider your own economic future. As we barrel toward this impending age of AGI, what is going to be your essential function? Or are you just going to be a remnant? Thank you so much for exploring this wild topic with me today. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.